Hey, remember this video? Yeah, I think I'm just gonna throw it away. As of a couple months ago, Cyberpunk 2077 was the most expensive game in video game history, but also one of the saddest flops. While walking down a beautiful neon-lit street in Night City gave you a bittersweet feeling because no matter how immersive or beautiful or realistic it was, you never knew when the next bug would just pop out of nowhere and ruin the moment. Cyberpunk 2077 was hyped up to be a beautiful, full of life, engaging cyber world, and though it had many of these elements, the bugs were everywhere and hard to deal with. While most affected more simple everyday life, others would prohibit large parts of the game from ever even being able to unlock. But that was a few months ago. CD Projekt Red knew exactly what to do and how to do it, and now, Cyberpunk 2077 has gone from getting almost forgotten to getting millions upon millions of players every day, even going past The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt's most popular point. And the word on The Witcher 3, it's the most popular game CD Projekt Red has made, not to mention the fact that the Witcher series is a massive world of books, video games, side games, and even TV series. That's saying something when just a couple months ago Cyberpunk was 6 feet under. I even made a video on it being a flop. So how did it go from being that low to making new records for CD Projekt Red? This is the redemption of Cyberpunk 2077. Don't forget to subscribe. It all started back in 2013 when CD Projekt Red released the first trailer for their new game, Cyberpunk 2077. The trailer was awesome, the music was amazing, and the idea instantly hooked the attention of everybody who watched it, me as a little kid included. Now combine that with CD Projekt Red hyping up the whole thing, this futuristic game was sure to be awesome. Just remember the word hype. Now, what is CD Projekt Red? For those of you who don't know, they're the company behind the Witcher series that includes the main storyline and a series of games like Number 2 and Wild Hunt, and the side games like Thronebreaker. And if you play The Witcher 3, then you know that CD Projekt Red is good at what they do. They're immersive, bold, and deep games, drawing you in further and further with each moment of playtime. So the years went on as usual, not much was being said about Cyberpunk specifically, plenty was happening for The Witcher 3 as the game started development in roughly 2011, with the game being released in mid-2015 or so. There was a lot happening and the studio was always full and busy. Cyberpunk's team was very small when it started out as The Witcher took up a lot of the resources CD had, but no matter their size, they were excited and passionate for Cyberpunk, so they kept pushing. Soon enough, May of 2015 rolled around and the massive Witcher 3 Wild Hunt was released. Though the game was done, the Blood and Wine DLC was up next on CD Projekt Red's bucket list, and the team got right back to work. Though the team behind Cyberpunk would grow during this time, it was still very small compared to other games that were roughly the same size. Ginormous, or Ginormosaurus, whatever it is. Quite literally the most expensive game ever made, but of course they didn't know that at the time. Speaking of money, as the game went along, the bills were piling up and soon enough, they were gonna be low. But all the while, they continued to hype Cyberpunk up. So now we get into the phase where everything starts to make less and less sense. First up, June of 2019 rolls around the corner and we get the highly anticipated E3 event. Along with the usual flow of a couple regular games, the greatest game of all time, and of course some big Microsoft thing, we get our first real look into Cyberpunk 2077, delivered, of course, by Keanu Reeves. A moment of awe for Lord Keanu. And we're back at it. Most intriguing of all was we got the release date, April 16th, 2020. The world was excited, and you already know CD Projekt Red was hyping that sucker up. And on the January 16th, 2020, with the release date only a couple months away, everybody woke up to what would have been your average, ordinary day, but Adam Badowski had other plans. And just like that, our dreams were crushed. Head of the studio, Adam Badowski, said in his first infamous tweet, quote, "We are currently at a stage where the game is complete and playable, but there's still work to be done. Night City is massive, full of stories and stuff, so basically we want more time to fix the game that's complete, so haha, we hate you all, love, Mike Wazowski." That was a word-for-word quote from his tweet. See, the problem was with the fact that CD Projekt Red hyped the game up so much that even if they delayed that sucker by a few seconds, you'd have DayZ-style zombie hordes running across the planet. On top of that, we had all been waiting for this game for about a decade now, so yeah, but we adapt. And soon enough, we all got excited for September 17th, and they did it again. They They did it again. October 27th rolls around the corner and Mike Wazowski wakes up and he says, you know what a beautiful day we can ruin. With the second infamous tweet, quote, today we have decided to move the release date of Cyberpunk 2077 by 21 days. More like 21 days later, bro. Basically, according to Mike Wazowski, along the decade-long journey of making this game, it turned into a next-gen console game. So they were super divided when it comes to the consoles. And though they had said that the 21 days made a huge difference, I can only nightmare about what the game would have looked like before that. But December 10th was the new release date. Anybody else getting deja vu? Of course, for obvious reasons, the world was upside again, but sure enough, it didn't change, and December 10th rolled around the corner, we actually got the game. It was released. And on its first day, it made a profit. That's insane when you factor in the fact that this was the most expensive game to make ever. Now, there was a whole buttload of stuff that CD Projekt Red did that was just kind of shady, but I won't get into that in this video. Rest assured, the game was in shambles. Although the graphics and all were great, the bugs really messed things up, ranging from making stupid stuff happen all the way to blocking whole parts of the game from ever being accessed. And not long after, the numbers started dropping. It was a sad death, really. The game slowly started to dry out. It was simply unplayable. CD Projekt Red said they'll be updating the game and doing everything they can to bring it back, but the damage was already done. And even if they could fix it completely, would people play it? The Boy Who Cried Wolf is a good example of this. CD Projekt Red hyped the whole thing up, released several trailers throughout the delays, and in the end, it was still unfinished, though they had said it was great, quote, in a stage where the game is complete. So it went quiet. And though they kept updating the game and making some progress on fixing it, the numbers stayed low. But then, rumors started spreading about a big update. Something super big, and it was around this time that I made my first video on it. What happened to Cyberpunk 2077? Go check it out, it's actually really cool. And after that, something happened. That big update turned out to be the Edgerunners update, which in turn turned out to be... I mean, it's alright. The Edgerunners update was cool and all, but it wasn't what people were expecting. While they added to the game, they did something else that I'll get into in a second. Along with the update came an anime, and while I haven't watched it, I hear it's a great and it looks beautiful. The anime was able to explore and show us parts of the world that the game itself wasn't able to cover. Along with some of the amazing music, fantastic and simply stunning art style, Edgerunners brought a buttload of hype and attention back into this world, and of course, it made an impact. Turns out the Edgerunner anime was all the game needed. This brought excitement and interest back to the game, and before you know it, the numbers started to make a rise. Such a rise that only a couple days later, they beat The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt's most popular moment, in days. You remember what I was talking about a second ago with the whole Edgerunner update for the game? Turns out that the most noteworthy thing they accomplished was super fixing the game. While it's not perfect, it's much better than it used to be. So now, we can finally walk down that cold, neon-lit street in Night City and not have a palm tree swing out of nowhere and knock us clean out. They made the comeback, so we can all give thanks to the anime that saved Cyberpunk 2077, Mike Wazowski, and Keanu Reeves, because he is Lord Keanu. And there you have it, they made the comeback. Where will the numbers go from here? As of the time of me making this video, they're still going up, millions every day. It's definitely a very exciting time for the Cyberpunk world, and I'm excited to see where it goes from here. You know what else is exciting? Elden Ring. Elden Ring is like this channel. It's awesome. And because you've come this far in the video, Godric says it's time to subscribe. So what do you think? I had a blast making this video, and I hope you enjoyed it. Next up is Stray. Now, I've postponed that sucker almost as much as Mike Wazowski delayed Cyberpunk, but you can't get upset at me because it's not as much. And I don't know about you, but I think it's time to watch 47 Ronin and Monsters Inc. again, for obvious reasons. I know Adam Badowski is probably tracking me down right now, but we'll be fine, I hope. And don't say that 47 Ronin was a bad movie. It was great. I hope you have a great rest of the day, and remember, life is short. Play great games. Okay, hear me out. We need to stop this. All of the games we've gotten in the last couple years or so, there have been chart-taking entries, some just hanging on, and everything in between, but along with the usual flow of things, a new trend has arisen. Putting a date at the end of the title. This terrible trend has brought the end of a decently large amount of games, but even more money. Now, although the year at the end of the title isn't the only reason that several games have died or flopped, it's a pretty good indicator that one will.